I know we've spoken so many times about the important work that you've done with vets and with first responders and their families as well. You know, it strikes me through all of that, I had no idea that since 2018, your son, Mac, who was also very involved in the foundation, was battling a rare cancer. And now you are just starting to open up more about his passing last year. Can you tell me about the decision to speak about what you and your family had pretty privately been going through for more than 5 years?
Well, it was a terribly difficult, challenging period. He had a very rare cancer with no cure. It's a cancer called chordoma. It starts in the spine, and the tumor will grow either at the base of the spine or the top of the spine. And you can, quite often they can take it out successfully, and it's cured about 70% of the time. But about 30% of the time it comes back and it spreads, and that's what happened to Mac. And then he became very, very disabled by the cancer. I stopped acting in 2019 to basically take care of him, and my wife had also been diagnosed with cancer, and it was just a full-time job to manage the medical needs that they were both going through. And Mac just, he faced it with great courage. Thankfully, my wife went into remission on her breast cancer, but Mac continued a very, very difficult fight with no drugs to fight this cancer. And early in 2023, you're seeing a record there and a recording session there. Mac was a great musician and composer, and he hadn't been thinking about music for quite a while. And then in early 2023, he wanted to go back and finish a piece of music that he had written in college. And it's a tremendous piece of music called Arctic Circles. It's on his YouTube channel, Mac Sinise YouTube. And he ended up creating that album there, Resurrection and Revival. By the end of 2023, the album was finished. He accomplished what he set out to do, and he died about just weeks after the album was finished. But the album has come out. It was on the top 10 most downloaded albums in America on iTunes back in May. I guess that's because I've been actually sharing the story and telling people about the music, wanting them to know about it, and wanting them to know, the courage of our son and how gracefully he fought this terrible disease.
Was there a moment during Mac's fight or after his passing where you felt his strength was carrying you instead of the other way around?
Many, many times. He was incredible. He knew that there were a lot of tumors, and when they were causing him pain, it was hard for him, very hard for him. But if we had the pain under control and the nausea and the sickness from the treatment then he was allowed to just be Mac. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to take all that fight, I'll deal with the doctors. I'll deal with it. I'll tell you what we're doing. And I just tried to take all that so that each day he could just live and watch television and read his Bible and listen to his music. And I just saw Mac persevere through all of this in the most humble, graceful, inspirational way, that telling his story and talking about him and sharing the music with people is a wonderful gift that I have. And while we never got the medical miracle that we were looking for, there are many other miracles that we did receive. And Mac was a great gift to all of us.
What would you tell to someone who is freshly experiencing grief or major loss?
Yes, I mean it's a terrible thing when you lose a loved one. It's a terrible thing when you lose a child like we have. I've gone through a lot of difficult moments over the years with the men and women that serve our country, and parents who have lost, a soldier or a Marine or somebody in service to our country, children who have lost a mom or a dad in service to our country. I've been through so many of those scenarios, and I've wrapped my arms around so many of these families that have gone through grief, and I've watched how they've persevered through it, and in some great cases just excelled beyond it. And we have to remember that our loved ones that we lose, they don't want us to be paralyzed by the fact that they're no longer with us. They want us to exceed, excel and make the most out of the life that we have. And while Mac was cut short at 33 years old, and others lived to be 105, and then we lose little children when they're 2 months old, and families have to going through grief is a part of the human experience. And we have to be thankful for the time that we have with the loved ones that we have, and just persevere in their honor, move on and forge ahead in their honor and memory. And, I want Mac to be proud of his dad and proud of his family. And we're all doing our best to just forge ahead and try to make the most out of this life that we can.
Yeah, I'm sure he is so proud. I know you've said you suspect he might be a little embarrassed, too, at how his dad is just going out there and loving on him in public and talking about his talent, because he was so humble that way as well.
No question about that. I think he's, if I was telling him right now that his music is, one of his pieces was played by the National Symphony Orchestra at the National Memorial Day concert this past May, in Washington, D.C., and now the president's own Marine band is going to play his music. If I was telling him that guess what, your music is going to be played, he would just his eyes would bug out of his head, and he'd be shaking his head like he can't believe it. And he was a very humble, quiet, creative force. But I think that's been very, very helpful to me, actually, to be invited on to actually share the story of somebody that I love so much and that gave me so much. And I'll keep doing it. I want to go around. I want orchestras to play the music. I want them to know who Mac was.
It's a beautiful thing and an incredible legacy. Thank you for letting us get to know Mac a little bit through this conversation and through his music. And Gary Sinise, I thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure for me to get to see you. And thank you for the work you continue to do as well.
I sure appreciate that so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.